Thank you very much. Ideas worth copying. I like that from the other TED Talk this afternoon. And I'm definitely doing a lot of copying today without the copyright. My theme tonight is Alice in Dataland. I bow to Alice in Wonderland. And why Alice in Dataland? Well, it's a simple conceit of a political philosopher finding a portal to another democracy in the future, unhinged by any restrictions and imaginations. So that's why I invite you to jump through the other side of the looking glass and imagine the 1750s. Are you all there? We are in the 13 colonies in the New World. A lot of things bother us, but I want to talk to you about one thing. Taxes weigh heavy on us, on the people in the 1750s. The British government controls everything. A bit like today with the Brexit, but that's on the side note. The taxes are getting huger and huger, to be in the Alice in Wonderland speak, especially through the Stamp Act. So something had to be done, and it was. It went under the name of the American Revolution. I know you don't think taxes are that sexy, but let me tell you, taxes and democracy are very, very closely linked. The slogan of the movement, the brand, if you want to say, was no taxation without representation. So what does that mean? No taxation without representation is, when translated into German, even more powerful. In German, it says, Besteuerung ohne Vertretung ist Tyrannei. Taxes without having a say in them is sheer tyranny. And you see here the Swiss talking, because the Swiss actually do vote on the taxes directly. They even vote on a rise of taxes. They even are happy to say yes to another tax, like last year for the media tax. I mean, we are here in the perfect country to talk about taxes and to talk about how to create wealth if we avoid taxes. But that's also another story. But the no taxes without representation made me creative, because I wanted to think about it. So then, the democratic movement came. You wanted to politically participate in whatever belongs to you. You want to have a say how it's used. So people do have a right to say what to do with what belongs to them. And let me tell you, that right is far more than just a yes, I agree in a checkbox, a check mark in a checkbox underneath Facebook, Google, or whoever, wherever they use cookies. That made me thinking. So, the I agree is a superficial kind of paralegal thing to say, yes, we agree to whatever we want to. So now I want you to take from no taxes without representation, I want you to take to the year 2016 to today. Because I'm always thinking about power distribution, diversity, participation, direct democracy. I've been a civil rights activist for a long time. And so I did what we already heard a lot in TED Talks. I just was creative. I merely exchanged taxes with data. And I made many discoveries since. So, because today, we pay taxes. Sometimes we like to pay them, sometimes we complain, sometimes we evade them, especially when we are companies from the Silicon Valley. But what was then called taxes are now called data. So as important as taxes were in 1750s, and as they constructed the whole life the people were living in, as important are nowadays the data. And let me be frank, we pay much more data to all net companies, governments, and the Secret Service, especially here in Switzerland that has a long history of Secret Service. We pay much more with data than the whole world has ever paid taxes. So how so? We provide data on our body, our ideas, our dreams, our families, our hopes, our fears, our credit cards, our work documents, our inspirations, our diaries, our height, our weight, our age, our love affairs, our films, our consumer choices, our letters. We share everything. Of course, we think we do not share everything because we only agree to what we share. But naturally, you all know here, we actually hand ourselves away through data. So the data are not just the new taxes, but data are the new gold of our times. And so that got me thinking into the power construction. Like in the 1750s, the taxes were collected by the king. Today, data are collected by the new data rulers. And you can imagine, I don't want to bring up names, but you can imagine whom they are. And interestingly enough, if you think about it longer, you see it is like a feudal serfdom that we gladly hand away to new governments who have maybe that way the possibility to suppress us, you and me. And you know what is a bit different to the 1750s? Data are so much easier to collect than taxes. Why is that? I mean, apart from the apparent reason, the technological one, but there is also a linguistic reason. Because to collect data is so much easier since numbers do not speak with an accent or a dialect or a regional diversities. Numbers are global. Numbers can actually, as we see, rule the world. So there's another thought. What are we going to do about that? So, thinking about power change, what would be kind of a political movement which is already existing? As I said, it's ideas worth copying and maybe put them in another narrative. In replacing taxes with data, I realized that our bright future in the digital world will certainly lie in the slogan, "No data without representation." No data without representation is a great slogan. No data without representation. Keine Daten ohne unsere Mitbestimmung. And the Mitbestimmung, the participation, the representation, again, is not just a checkbox, all right? So, thinking about that then, the hyperlinks could be our future parliaments. So let's end the digital serfdom, like our ancestors ended the colonialist and feudal serfdom. Data are the new taxes, and they should be spent with our participation, with a freedom to the data companies. They should be spent for common goods, like schools, hospitals, culture, sport, and equality. And they will not be owned by the digital kings. We have to have a say to whatever belongs to us. And data is like our bodies. They belong to us and to nobody else. Die Gedanken sind frei. The thoughts are free. So the people of the past have freed themselves from some very nasty gods indeed. It's time that we free ourselves from nasty numbers without any accents and some very nasty number kings which try to put us in prisons of algorithms and profits. And I finish with Alice in Wonderland, with one of my favorite quotes. There are lots of favorite quotes there. Hatcher says in Alice in Wonderland, if there is nothing, no one can take less. But it's very easy to take more than nothing. So let's work together on building a global data democracy. And that means a very creative get-together. And I'm very glad if you join us on our discussion on TEDx or various hashtags, that we can actually think about how do we go about with no data without representation. Thank you very much for your attention.